That was a thing. I'm sorry, but like, huh? Supersonic T here. Sonic Central wrapped up 6 hours ago by the time I'm recording this discussion. They announced various projects, crossover type announcements, and other things here and there related to Sonic. We got a teaser for a new Sonic game, and the biggest thing I got coming out of that live stream is that this state of uncertainty surrounding Sonic, this game, the series going forward, that level of quandary and lack of confidence and trust has only re-amplified itself as I have more questions coming out of this thing revolving those aspects of Sonic than I have answers. As far as the live stream itself, a bunch of expectations I made going into this presentation were right on the money, and I'd probably rate it middle of the road, like 5 to 6 out of 10. I don't sound that disappointed. Again, a lot of expectations going into the presentation I had were met right on the mark. They were tame and realistic as a result, so I'm not necessarily on the salty end of the spectrum, but I still am coming out at least a little underwhelmed, especially towards the end. Not specifically because of the presentation itself, but the underlying messages and intentions in some announcements, and more I'll elaborate on later. This discussion will be me half talking about my general thoughts and ideas on the presentation itself, and the other half largely a mix between talking about the Sonic 2022 game teaser, the Sonic series going forward, and that whole quandary in general. Again, I'm sorry if this seems pretentious or egotistical in any way, because the quandary topic is an idea / specifically named discussion I keep circling back to that I made, but I don't feel like this answered that or gave much regarding that quandary. This just reinforced that I still have no substance or affirmation that Sega and Sonic Team have a set path and roadmap with Sonic in mind, to reaffirm the trust in a lot of Sonic fans out there, and reaffirm the confidence, stride, and quality assurance Sonic could have going forward. Let's talk the presentation first. 3 things I want to note before talking about specifics, and the first thing is that I find it funny that this was structured and designed 100% exactly like a Nintendo Direct. Any Nintendo fans out there watching this can confirm the way they delivered announcements, the graphics for the title cards of these announcements, like it was all mirroring how a Nintendo Direct drops its announcements. I just thought that was funny and cheesy in a way. But the second thing is that this presentation was hurt considerably because of leaks and early teases. The Unstoppable video, the official YouTube page for Sonic, dropped 2 days ago prior to this, basically had half of that actual teaser for the new Sonic game in there, no exaggeration, alongside the idea of classic games getting some form of an upgraded re-release, not to mention Sonic Colors Ultimate getting leaked and heavily rumored for the past few months. That's the nature with leaks and rumors. It's unfortunate. I do firmly believe it's a thing that ends up ruining more surprises, expectations, and speculations going into announcements than anything positive. It's largely just for those people to gain brownie points for giving that inside info / educated guesses before they drop, and nothing else much beyond it. That's a whole other discussion I could rip open. Short story, the leaks and rumors didn't do this presentation much in giving big surprises or larger excitement and intrigue overall than it would have if they didn't blow up, nor did Sega teasing those 2D Sonic upgraded ports and that CGI trailer in the Unstoppable video help much either. We basically got the same thing, or confirmation surrounding those teases. And thirdly, the Nintendo Direct effect was such an accurate analogy I made regarding this, because the vibe I'm getting is most people seem relatively neutral on the whole presentation. Some expectations going into it were met relatively well, but Sega hyping up the presentation, again the Unstoppable video, and the fact we've gone so long without new Sonic announcements, only for Sega to drop some announcements they already teased prior, were leaked, and were of the normal standard type of Sonic announcements / hype quality, to where it was a standard Sonic presentation in the grand scheme, yet most people raised their expectations and hype through the roof because of those factors, was exactly what happened. It's a natural thing, the time it took between TSR and this, some of the announcements specifically, the way they were shown. Like, it does feel like they could have done even a little more in some areas here and there, whether showing more stuff, confirming other stuff people were worried about, other types of re-releases, etc., but people would have risen that bar regardless. You'll have those who expect an Adventure 3, Adventure remakes, etc., a Mania sequel, or at the bare minimum hope and pray they do get one of these. People right now online are expressing how Unleashed got done dirty, which I agree wholeheartedly. Unleashed should have gotten a remastered treatment with quality of life adjustments. Like, there are various disappointments and takes online to where people feel Sega should have done more. And again, people were going to raise that bar so high regardless, because not only is Sonic still super popular regardless of whatever instance he'll be put in, most do feel Sonic deserves more in certain ways I'll explain later. Like, I was at the bare minimum hoping, not expecting, but hoping they could potentially remake Adventures 1 and 2, or make a Mania sequel, or re-release Generations and especially Unleashed, not just Colors. For all I know, any single one of these can still happen this June a la E3, or a hypothetical anniversary livestream towards the end of the month, or sometime in the distant future. Now I'm incredibly doubtful, but I'm not upset those weren't there because they skewed more towards the pipe dream angle and wishful thinking that it wasn't a major loss. Should they still happen? I'd argue yes, but it's a whatever thing, I promise. Now on to specific announcements. I expected smaller collaborations and small crossover type things, and a lot of that did happen. There's going to be a musical performance of Sonic music made on Sonic's birthday, June 23rd. There's going to be a preview of it at Summer Game Fest. That's neat, and an anniversary type event happening. The Tokyo 2020 video game, you could play as a guy dressed up as Sonic in a Sonic mascot costume. Not Sonic himself, but that famous mascot costume you always see in promo commercials and events. That's funny. 2 Point Hospital can have characters dress up as Sonic characters. You could play Sonic the Fighters in Lost Judgment. There's going to be Sonic in Minecraft and other collaborations of this nature in the future. Again, a lot of smaller scale collabs putting Sonic in other Sega and non-Sega games, which was completely expected personally, so none of this shocked me. Sonic Dash, Sonic Forces Speed Battle, both of those games celebrating in-game events with new characters and skins, including Sonic the Hedgehog, Sonic Racing on Apple, getting Classic Sonic, new tracks, various merch like a Death Egg robot figure, King Ice Sonic themed jewelry change, which personally looked kind of dope, and Encyclopedia, coins, etc. Again, a lot of predictable collaboration stuff, small mobile game updates, merchandise. These were all what I was expecting going into this, to where you'll have an audience for some of these, but most aren't going to care that much. Another prediction I got right, Sonic Prime just getting mentioned that it exists. One of the showrunners of Sonic Prime, one of the guys who works at Man of Action, listing his and the studio's work, how they're excited to be working on it really hard. It's basically everything we already knew about that show. Sonic Mania, Team Sonic Racing are also going to be made available on Amazon Luna, and those two games plus Sonic Forces are coming to PlayStation Now in June. I predicted a Sonic Forces re-release based on that accidental leak on the PlayStation context bar that implied Forces would have a PlayStation 5 version. That was likely this. It's basically what I predicted, so I'm counting that as my prediction gone right. Here's where we get to the big stuff and are getting closer to finishing the announcements. During this, they revealed Sonic Origins to be a new compilation of Sonic games including Sonic's 1, 2, CD, 3, and Knuckles, and it's coming out next year, interesting, with added features and content to these games. This was a hard bullseye if I've ever made one, and despite showing Sonic 3 and Knuckles in its original quality and aspect ratio, yet other games were in widescreen, one of the social media managers of Sonic's Twitter confirmed that yes, Sonic 3 and Knuckles will be in widescreen, and judging from the added content and features, I'm assuming this is both games combined. The added features and whatnot will likely be fine. It's another re-release of Sonic's 1, 2, and CD, but the biggest win is that Sonic 3 and Knuckles is getting re-released, because that game never gets re-released on its own. Sonic's 1, 2, and CD, you see those on many platforms. Sega re-releases those games all the time, yet they leave out the most critically acclaimed one out of the trilogy from re-releasing Sonic 3 and Knuckles. Assuming this is a collection release, this will be a mainstream viable way of getting more people to play Sonic 3 and Knuckles, which was something a lot of people were dying to get for a while now. That's at least something. And something wilder, Sonic Colors Ultimate. It was heavily leaked and rumored and is now confirmed. Another expectation. Blind Squirrel Entertainment is handling this. They've worked on BioShock the Collection and Mass Effect Legendary Edition, so the team behind this has experience with working on ports and remasters, but Sonic Colors Ultimate is shooting for a definitive version angle than just a bare minimum remaster, it seems. Visually, you could tell it's generally prettier than on Wii U. Not only is the resolution higher, but the lighting's different, the textures, character models, and various graphical assets seem beefed up and remade. People seem really mixed on the visual upgrade though, particularly the lighting. In some areas the colors seem far darker and more subdued than they should. In others they crank up some of the lights a little too high. People are comparing this more to Sonic Adventure DX and how that was both a visual upgrade and downgrade in some areas for Sonic Adventure. That and apparently Sonic Colors Ultimate might require de novo, which is this infamous form of digital rights to where you need internet to play and it can cause gameplay issues, on top of the company itself making this game having a hit and miss resume and locking bonus content behind digital paywalls. So there's plenty of criticism and worries at play with this outsourcing. On a positive note though, there seems to be added content coming to this game too. There seems to be customization involved. Sonic is seen wearing various different gloves and shoes throughout the trailer. The Jade Wisp, which made its debut in Team Sonic Racing, is going to be added in this game. The soundtrack seems to have been remade since there are numerous colors remixes throughout the live stream you can hear. There's going to be a Rival Rush mode where you can race Metal Sonic and unlock stuff. There's also a deluxe edition of this game which gives you little perks. At the very least, they do seem to be adding extra modes and small quality of life stuff here and there to make you want to at least pick up the game again. The only major problem is if some of that extra content is going to be locked off behind paywalls, given the development team's history, especially when Sega tried putting Super Sonic behind a paywall in Forces and that didn't go well. There's going to be a problem. Other than that, that, Sonic Colors getting extra content, generally better graphics, generally, I know in some areas it doesn't look that good. And it's a Sonic game most people generally like, is being re-released on all major platforms, so it'll likely hit well for a lot of people and sell well given its reputation. I'm curious as to how people may reaffirm / retake their time with Colors here, because I doubt the level design has changed much if at all, and over the years plenty of Sonic fans expressed how Colors hasn't held up as well as people said over a decade ago, so I'm curious if the reception now will mirror the reception and praise it got when it was brand new. Sales will likely be mirrored, potentially surpassed, but reception's the one thing I'm curious on. It's also getting a 2-part animation made by Tyson Hess, Sonic Colors, Rise of the Wisps. It looks really cute and beautiful as all of Tyson's animations. It's following the pattern of Tyson making new animations for any new Sonic game since Sonic Mania Plus. This is likely to chorus the Rival Rush mode with Metal Sonic into Colors itself. First episode comes this summer, second will likely drop before the game comes out. We'll be looking forward to that for sure. And finally, the other major bullseye I got was the new Sonic game, in that we got such a tiny tease and no major gameplay, idea of what the game may be about or be themed around. We didn't even get a name. We got Sonic and CGI running, then breaking into what looks like a boost, running in this circle, the boost line breaking into this vague character structure, vaguely spelling out Zap and the year 2022, in which this game will be available on all current-gen platforms, PC, Xbox One, Series X, PlayStation 4 and 5, Nintendo Switch, etc. And the way they ended the presentation was super abrupt. Like, once the release window was shown, the Sega logo in the eyes, where that would normally signify the end of a video, by them popped up. Like, most felt this whole thing came and went so quick, even with some people who knew the event was roughly 13 minutes long. This is where people felt it deflated relatively and brought more questions than answers. It's legit on the same tier as how Metroid Prime 4 or Bayonetta 3 were announced. Like, they just had either a background or the main character doing something, then the game's title and release window. The only difference is we didn't even get a name for the game. Like, there was no substance or reason to get super hyped over this. I fully expected this kind of teaser, yet they did so little with it that there's nothing to chew on with it outside a small handful of aspects regarding it. Like, imagine if Super Mario Odyssey's debut trailer was just that last piece of the trailer where Mario jumps and runs in this empty white void, throws his hat at the screen, and instead of the name of the game being shown, Super Mario Odyssey, you're given the year it's coming out instead. None of that gameplay, just that one small portion of Mario doing that and the year given. Like, that's how little we have right now. You could argue Metroid Prime 4 and Bayonetta 3 have more from their reveal solely because they have a name, but it's something more than that. This reveal is especially where I feel more disappointed in how it was shown and handled compared to the announcement itself. It's already a red flag when this is another example of that trend of a game coming a ways in the future. No gameplay, no major indication or context of anything about the game, just that it exists and is coming in a certain release window. At the very least, between Metroid Prime 4 and Bayonetta 3, those are flagship IPs in some manner, and above all else are consistent in quality output and recognition. Bayo's a smaller third party, but everyone who's played her games, Bayonetta 1 and 2, practically adores them and fully expects Platinum to deliver just as they did with those two. They just announced it way too early. Metroid Prime 4, also way too early, yet despite how slightly underwhelming those games may sell, many people regard Metroid as a legacy IP, an iconic series many adore and respect. Nintendo acknowledges this and later on restarted development and are gradually raking in big-name designers, programmers, and whatnot who've worked on major games, yet we still have no idea what the game is even going to be about. That and the title. You have a palpable expectation and indication as to what the game's going to be like, even with those reveals. This new Sonic game teaser has almost none of that. The only things we could surmise from this is that there's a strong chance they're making another boost game, and Zap might be some theme around the game, but that's literally it. Not only that, we're talking Sonic the Hedgehog, that one series who needs that confidence and consistency more than most other series at this point. There's multiple gameplay styles the series went through with varying degrees of success and failures, to where consistency is one of the last things Sonic has for this type of reveal to be justified. This is where my general disappointment comes from, in the underlying tone surrounding this particular announcement, alongside some other bits of the overall live stream, like having to disclose Sonic 3 Knuckles after the stream is going to be widescreen despite what they showed being the original aspect ratio, and where I'm still so confused as to what Sega and Sonic Team are going with this. After Sonic Forces, people want a new, great Sonic game. People want to trust Sega and Sonic after so much inconsistency and lack of confidence the team and series had for a decade at this point, debatably more. The teaser doesn't effectively do anything in trying to do that, and now there's no reason, for me personally anyways, to get hype when they're not even showing the game itself. The game's coming out in 2022, it'll eventually come at some point, but the fact they hyped up a Sonic presentation after so long with no Sonic news, the fact this is all we have to go off of, doesn't give me any reason to believe this next Sonic game will make a difference. Can it? It could. But people saying, just wait until we get more information or wait until the game comes out to make fair judgments and not treat it unfairly or whatever, is the same exact mistake some fans have made with Sonic for so long now. I made that mistake with Forces, Paper Mario fans make that mistake all the time since Color Splash, and it's the same false approach people need to actually analyze and throw away. People make assessments based on what the company shows their audience. It doesn't matter if it's positive or negative assessments. It doesn't matter how disappointed someone may be based on a trailer or the game and what's shown. It doesn't matter how hyped or positive someone may be based on what is shown either in terms of assessing the situation. That's the entire point of teasers and trailers. You're supposed to get an idea of what the game will be like, what form it'll take, how it'll look, what the gameplay will be like, etc. You're judging the game, the company, and the way they're presenting it and themselves based on that exact teaser and trailer. It's fair to judge a game when you play it, but it's often still fair and valid judging the game off of teasers and trailers. Smash Brothers trailers, 3D Mario trailers, Zelda trailers, Pokemon, Kirby, Call of Duty. Sonic trailers the closer we get to their release. The vast array of franchises that release a lot of those trailers have many assessments and expectations made during them met upon release, even before people play the game. That's precisely how trailers and teasers work. It's even more unfair when people shut out the negative or even just neutral criticisms towards the games from trailers just because it's negative, when it carries the exact same weight, sometimes more based on the reasoning given, as positive takes, and vice versa. We're all still assessing the situation and making judgments. We're all literally in the same boat in terms of waiting for the game and more info. Trying to convince people talking about it is futile and to just wait makes no sense when people are going to be talking about this like me right now, or in other ways, and many other people on Twitter, YouTube, etc. And when people love Sonic first and foremost. But the way I'm assessing the teaser and the way they set it up is telling me they, or at least the marketing team, did not learn from Sonic Forces. They hyped up Forces with a CGI trailer, alluding to the style of gameplay in that same trailer. Red flagged by both stating it's the team that brought you those two good Boost Sonic games that got a lot of sales and good reviews, and Classic Sonic. We even had more context in there between the setting and visual presentation of the trailer, the Death Egg robots and all I just described, but the structure and how they presented Forces, it's basically the same thing here. You can't hype up your game with a CGI approach and throw in even less context or substance for your audience to chew on, and expect people to rev up how good your next game may be, especially when that masked how awful Forces was. Forget they've been doing this type of reveal since generations, which even when the odds were more in Sonic and Sega's favor at the time after Colors, and when that had more for fans to chew on, it's still a tired and flawed marketing approach, hence Metroid and Bayonetta. You can't always assume you have many fans benefits of the doubt when you're proven time and time to drop the ball in spite of misplaced faith, especially when repeating this exact action serves to make more and more fans lose that benefit of the doubt. They've lost so much of that with thousands of fans already that this makes no sense to me. This marketing approach has only served to spread anxiety, concern, and overall confusion as to what to expect from the game, or hope the game and Sonic will become competent moving forward. I don't think they could have afforded slipping out on not giving at least a crumb of what the story may be, some gameplay beyond a CGI implication of the boost maybe coming back, what the setting or general tone is with this, when a series like Sonic needs competence and confidence more than ever with this. Sonic running in a forest, just like Sonic Adventure's opening, Sonic Next Gen, which was that one trailer for an early build of Sonic 06, the first few seconds of Sonic Colors opening. Like, Sonic running in a forest is so vague and non-descriptive, this could literally mean anything. The boost look might not even mean the boost is coming back. The gameplay style could be completely different despite what we're shown. Zap might play a heavy theme with some gameplay mechanic involving electricity, or just some cosmetic visual thing. We don't know. Actually getting a proper clue to what this game is about beyond the fact it exists, Boost is likely back, and it's coming next year, would have helped much more for everyone involved and tells me more about Sega and Sonic Team with this. How good or bad the gameplay may be is completely irrelevant with this specific topic, because they're not proving to us they mean business and want to show how competent and effective they can be with Sonic. This wasn't a good marketing strategy, and even if we potentially get more news at E3 or later into June, there are many people who don't feel secure, are hesitant, and rightfully so, because they didn't capitalize on the publicity and excitement surrounding Sonic, this new game, and his overall brand to the best of their ability with just this one announcement alone, and opted to double down on a strategy that's proven to backfire on them incredibly hard, adding to the skepticism and criticism. I keep stressing the way they did it and why it was bad, because I firmly believe the alternative would have been the best case scenario in marketing and getting people on board by a fair margin. A title, some gameplay footage, even if it's an early build, the world you're playing in, any other characters or level design, some actual context to the game would have helped a great amount, even if that was just 5 seconds. That little extra can go a long way and would help make your E3 presence or June events even more lucrative and prosperous in press and trust. It would have given Sonic fans more to chew and sit on. Letting your work in progress would show more how confident and transparent you're trying to be rather than the opposite, and reassures those people rather than making them even more hesitant and cautious, whether optimistic or pessimistic. With the track record Sonic has, this approach isn't feasible, and when done several times already, with recent times being at their heaviest detriment. Like, is Sega still iffy on what they want to do with Sonic even with this? They have a set path as a multimedia brand, but most still care a lot about the main game branch, and while they have some games coming within this and next year, most still make up re-releases. Are they just going to sit on 2D games and not make a Mania sequel for a while? With the way they're doing this, is the game not going to be that good again? Do they still follow this random path of random things they want Sonic to do regardless of fan feedback? Is this Sega any different from the one back in 2017, specifically with Sonic? This just adds so many more questions than it does confidence, competence, or trust, and I don't think that was a smart plan. Getting your supporters on board and looking forward to your product with context towards your product from the beginning is the best way to carry out hype and excitement up until release. Doing the strat consistent high quality franchises do where they can get away with it for Sonic wasn't the play, and it's annoying when most Sonic fans love Sonic and just want the best for moving forward. Not only this, but assume the game is one of the best Sonic games of forever. Is that enough to fully regain trust and confidence between Sega and Sonic fans? It took 2 bangers, Sonic Colors and Generations, one of which gained some more criticism over time, and then afterwards a faulty new entry with such a mediocre title to come up after that 4 years later. Even if, say, we get 1 or 3 amazing Sonic games in a row. It's hard to really say or affirm Sega can gain fans' trust and benefits of the doubt from the majority, especially with this kind of marketing strategy involved. I have no idea how good or bad this new game may be, but all I want is Sonic to be treated like a AAA IP, like how Sega pretends to treat Sonic, and especially how fans see Sonic. I'm pretty sure most of us are hoping the game will not be bad, it will hopefully be good, but I feel like that's the sad thing with Sonic. We all literally just want the best for the blue guy. He's hit insane highs many other AAA IPs have hit, and we know Sega and Sonic Team can deliver on creating those fantastic experiences. So we shouldn't have to expect the bare minimum of wanting the next game to not suck. It's why we keep coming back to this guy and why we keep trying to cheer him on, give any palpable criticism and see how Sonic Team and Sega can roll with it. But the various precedents and history with Sonic and Sega leaves so much more pessimism and caution in the eye as years pass, and them not invoking any sort of insurance now after Sonic's biggest plate of uncertainty 4 years ago isn't helping at all. If the most positive thing I can pick from this is that classic Sonic isn't here so far, is that really worth getting excited for basically no reason when me and millions of Sonic fans want more from the Blue Blur? We'll have to wait and see if this new game may twist some concerns around, but as it stands, Sega's not done anything different in terms of marketing and publicity approach so far, and I have no reason to really get hyped over this game until they release more substantial info. Even a crumb of substantial info would have went a long way, and even when they can possibly turn things around this June or later down the line, I can't say the situation's gotten any better than it has a few years ago after Forces was released, nor would it immediately fix this constant struggle between Sonic fans and Sega. We're still facing the same quandary essentially, and who knows if Sega and Sonic will reaffirm and regain trust and consistency among itself and its fans. Time will tell. Thank you for watching, come join my Discord server, follow me on Twitter, and stay tuned for more Sonic content to come, as we're getting some, finally, within the next year and a half. Stay super.